What's going on, guys? Jeff here for Mad Hatter's Reef, and today we got a brand new video for you. We're going to be taking a look at the top 10 Dwarf Angels. Dwarf Angels are some of the most beautiful saltwater fish in the game, and today we're going to take a look at the top 10. But before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified every time that we upload a new video, which I do every week, every Sunday to be exact. Now, before we jump into this top 10, it's very important to mention that anytime that you're talking about dwarf angels, they are amongst some of the most beautiful saltwater fish, and they typically grow to about 4 inches, so they're an ideal fish for those medium-sized tanks, and they are not the most aggressive fish out there, so a lot of them are semi-aggressive. It's very important to take aggressiveness, or how aggressive a fish is, into consideration before you put one into your tank, and these guys, most of them are known as reef safe with caution. And what that means is that they're not necessarily an ideal candidate for a reef tank. So it's very important to make sure you do your research on these fish prior to adding one to your reef tank, because it would be absolutely horrible to add one of these fish to your tank and then all of a sudden he's just chewing up all your corals. The way that you'd probably go about checking out these guys and make sure that they are going to do all right in a reef tank is actually put them in isolation with a piece of coral. See how they do, and if they do all right, if they're not going to absolutely destroy, a couple different species of coral in isolation, it's probably one of the good ones that isn't going to chew on corals, and you can add them to your reef tank. Coming in at number 10 on our top 10 Dwarf Angels is the Bicolor Angelfish. Now, this guy, definitely a solid price point, $34, typical asking price, all the way up to about $50. Very beautiful. This one's a little bit bigger for the dwarf species or the dwarf line of angelfish. This guy is moderate care level, semi-aggressive, absolute beautiful colorations. You have the yellows and the blues, and has an omnivore-based diet. So it's going to eat meat. It's going to eat some of those algae as well, and they are reef safe with caution like we just finished talking about. Now, we mentioned earlier that a lot of your dwarf angels grow up to 4 inches. This guy's going to grow up to 6 inches, so he's going to be one of those ones that are going to kind of toe the line between angelfish and dwarf angels, and the minimum tank size for this beauty is 70 gallons. An absolute beautiful addition to a 70-plus gallon reef tank. Check it out, the Bicolor Angelfish. Coming in at number 9 on our top 10 dwarf angels is the Pygmy Angelfish. This guy is beautiful. The blue colorations on this guy are absolutely phenomenal, and it has primarily a blue base to it, but it has like this little highlight that's on the ends of the fins. Beautiful, beautiful fish. The eye is even amazing. Not many fish you can say that the eye's amazing. This one you can. Moderate care level, semi-aggressive. The colorations on this, definitely variations within the species, but typically blue and orange, having a blue base on most of the body, and then from the gill plate north, you're looking at orange coloration with blue highlights. Omnivore-based diet, and is reef safe with caution. Now, this is probably one of the smallest of the dwarf angels, 3 inches full grown. That's pretty small. Minimum tank size for this guy, 55 gallons. Absolute beauty. I'm thinking about putting one of these guys in the water box, and definitely a showstopper. Check it out, the Pygmy Angelfish. Coming in at number 8, because 8 is great, the Lemonpeel Angelfish. Probably one of the few fish out there that has tremendous amount of yellow in it that is going to be able to go into a smaller tank. That's not very common. Price point on this guy, you can find it anywhere from $35-ish all the way up to $65. Really depends on the size. Care level, moderate care level. So this one's going to take a little bit more care than some of the other dwarf angels that we're going to talk about. And that has a lot to do with its feeding habits. And this guy, you want to make sure that you are aware that it is known to nip at large polyp stonies as well as mantles of clams. So that's something that you need to take in consideration. If you are a LPS or a clam lover, this probably isn't going to be the right fish for you. As far as diet, it's omnivore. It's reef safe with caution, can grow upwards of 5.5 inches. It requires a minimum tank size of 70 gallons. Check it out, the Lemonpeel Angelfish. Coming in at number 7, and probably one of my most favorite fish on this list, is the Red Stripe Angelfish. Price point on this guy is everywhere. It's from $45 to $60. Definitely beautiful in its coloration. It almost looks kind of freshwater-ish, with the exception of the orange highlights that are built into the fins. It almost has some blues in there as well. And then it kind of goes into this black coloration in the tail. Very interesting fish, and probably one that I would like to keep in the future. As far as care level goes, this guy's a moderate care level, semi-aggressive in its temperament, omnivore in its diet, reef safe with caution, like a lot of the fish on this list that we're going to be talking about today. And really all that means is you want to make sure that you are getting a fish that isn't going to nip at the things that you have in your tank. So you need to do a lot of research if you want to keep a dwarf angel. One of the larger angel or dwarf angels out there, this guy's going to grow upwards of 6 inches and requires a minimum tank size of 70 gallons. Absolute beautiful fish. Check it out, the Red Stripe Angelfish. Coming in at number 6 on our top 10 dwarf angels is the True Shepard's Angelfish. This guy is an absolute stunner with the bright oranges and blue highlights, almost like a little fishing lure. It's kind of interesting in its coloration. As far as care level, this guy, another moderate care level, semi-aggressive dwarf angel, has an omnivore-based diet, so he's going to eat both your algaes, going to pick at the rocks a lot, and is also going to partake in the eating of the copepods and the mysis shrimp and all that stuff. Reef safe with caution. One of the smaller dwarf angels that we have on this list, this guy's going to grow to 3.5 inches and requires lots of swimming space. And even though that he is a little bit smaller, he requires a tank of 70 gallons or bigger. Definitely not the least expensive dwarf angel on this list. Check it out, the True Shepard's Angelfish. Coming in at number 5 on our top 10 dwarf angels is the Flameback Angelfish. This guy, as far as price point goes, you can find him anywhere from $60 to $80. Really just depends on where you're shopping. And as far as the care requirements on this guy, another moderate care level dwarf angel. He is semi-aggressive in his temperament, omnivore-based diet, reef safe with caution. One of the smaller guys on this list, 3 inches, and hails from the waters of Africa, requiring a minimum tank size of 55 gallons or bigger. Coming in at number 4, a fish on my wish list, that is the black Nox Angelfish. Now, a lot of folks out there will be like, Jeff, why you want a all-black fish? Don't get it. Have you ever seen an all-black fish in a reef tank? It is absolutely stunning. It almost looks like a shadow swimming through the tank. Price point on this guy, anywhere from $30 to $45. Typically, you can find them for around the $34-ish mark. Moderate care level, semi-aggressive. Coloration, we already talked about that. This guy is jet black. You can't hardly see anything on him at all. Omnivore-based diet, is reef safe with caution, and is going to grow to that 4-inch mark at full grown, and requires a minimum tank size of 70 gallons. Definitely a fish on my wish list. At some point, I will have one of these guys. Check them out, the black Nox Angelfish. Coming in at number 3, and the future of the reef tank hobby, we have the captive bred Coral Beauty. Now, I've always wanted a Coral Beauty that is aquacultured, and some folks might say, well, Jeff, why do you want to pay extra for a fish that you can buy literally at the third of a cost that is wild collected? Well, I am one of those guys that likes to support the future of this hobby, and aquaculture is definitely the future of reef keeping. And fish like this are trendsetters, and they're a fish that has recently only been aquacultured, and that's why the price point is much higher than what you would expect with a wild-caught Coral Beauty. As far as care level goes on this guy, he is easy to care for, semi-aggressive in his temperament, omnivore, is reef safe with caution, and another benefit to an aquaculture saltwater fish is there's a better chance that he's probably not going to be a coral nipper. Even though that there is still that possibility, you have a better shot with captive bred saltwater fish. Max size on this guy is 4 inches, requires a minimum tank size of 70 gallons. Coming in at number 2 in our top 10 dwarf angels is the Potter's Angelfish. This is probably one of the most stunning dwarf angels on this list. Even with that being said, this guy does pack a price point. Packs a price point? I'm not even sure what that means. He packs a hit on the wallet as far as the price point goes. And care level, this is something definitely it's important to mention. This is a difficult care level angelfish, so you want to make sure that you can meet its requirements before going out and picking one of these guys up. They are semi-aggressive in their temperament, omnivore, like many of the dwarf angels on this list. Again, reef safe with caution, grows upwards of 5 inches and requires a minimum tank size of 70 gallons. And coming in at the number 1 spot, you guessed it, the Flame Angel. This guy is moderate care level, semi-aggressive with his temperament, omnivore based diet, reef safe with caution, grows up to 4 inches and requires a minimum tank size of 70 gallons. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this one. If you want to learn more about saltwater fish and how to add them to your reef tank, check this video out. I will see you over there.